Okay, so it's April 19th, Sunday, 2020, and I just finished reading A Sin by Mark Twain and Bret Harte. So the whole story is so in this place called Deadwood, Placer County, California, in 1850s, 1850s and 60s. So these all miners hanging out here trying to get gold. So that's the whole gold rush. Gold rush. So what happens is so this motherfucker called Broderick. Broderick kills Plunkett, and then he's trying to blame this murder on York, on either A Sin or York. And then throughout this whole hodgepodge, they realize that A Sin is innocent, York is innocent, which is the climax, and turns out Broderick is the murderer, and turns out Plunkett didn't die, and then turns out Broderick gets hanged, and in the middle so Plunkett's wife and daughter come to this town, because after hearing Plunkett is dead, and then York was supposed to recept them, but they were late, and before they arrived to Plunkett's house, the Tempest family, Mrs. Tempest and Miss Tempest show up and greeted by York, and York thought they were the Plunkett's wife and daughter, and then because he saw the picture of Miss Tempest, and then Plunkett told him that it was his daughter, so he believes that, and then when he approaches Miss Tempest and Mrs. Tempest, thinking they were the Plunkett, and Miss Tempest realized everything, and she plays along with it because she's smart and impetuous. So she played along with it, and then she was just like, they were faking as the Plunkett family, and then York was just like hanging out with them, and then on the other hand, when the real, the Plunkett mob, the Plunkett wife, and when Mrs. Plunkett and Miss Plunkett show up, they are greeted by Broderick, and then Broderick was like trying to figure out something and stuff, and then later this whole thing, and then later the Plunkett, Mrs. Plunkett and Miss Plunkett and Mrs. Tempest and Miss Tempest meet each other, and then Miss Tempest explains everything to them, saying, explain the whole situation, and then they believe. And also she proposes that they should continue playing the switch role to get the detail because Miss Tempest really wants to see what kind of person York is. So she wants to get to the bottom. So she suggests that they continue play along with a switch character, and then Mrs. and Miss Tempest Plunkett agreed, and then this whole thing. So in the end, when they were testifying, A Sin was working as a servant in the Plunkett family, and then A Sin was he was like a Puck. I would say A Sin was like Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream. He was like manipulating. He was the smart one, and he was he acts like he's stupid. Everyone contemplates him, But he's actually super smart. He fools everyone. He manipulates everyone on the dark. He collects the murder evidence. He saw the murder scene. He knows who the real murderer is. He knows everything. He just acts stupid. So no one spots him. And then like he gets bullied. He gets laughed at. He gets yelled at. Everything. No respect at all. And that it was just, but he was the one that but he knows, and he collects things. He collects trivial things. Trivial things. When he goes to a place, he will steal a cup, or if he goes to a park, he sees a shirt, he will collect it and put it in his bag. And then he has this habit. So in the end, when people are trying to in the court, they're trying to blame him. First time they blame Asin as the murderer, and then York testifies the innocence of Asin, saying he's just a servant. You guys are tripping. He's not a murderer. What are you talking about? He wasn't even there. So they dropped the charge on Asin, and then later they started charging York, especially Broderick, thinking York was the murderer because they're trying to find a scapegoat. And then Asin, he was there in the court, and he before Asin testifies York's innocence, Judge Tempest was there, just saying everything to the crowd, saying, you guys are wrong, you guys are fucking ignorant, all those stuff, all those, alibis that you're saying are not making any sense, are not legit in court. Those are not, normal courtroom evidence. You're just talking shit. And then Tempest, Judge Tempest, will try and act. He's there acting as a defendant lawyer on York. And then later, at the very moment, they were trying to hang York. And then Asin comes up. And then Broderick brings Asin to the court. Brings Asin to the attention, saying Asin can prove the whole murder scene because Asin was there. And then they were like, okay. So Asin jumps out. Broderick thought Asin was gonna testify York's guilty, but turns out Asin takes out the bloody shirt and shows it to the court, and Broderick thought it was York's bloody shirt because in that murder night, Broderick takes off his shirt that has Plunkett's blood on it, and Asin and hides it in a bush, and right after that, Asin shows up in the scene and grabs the shirt and puts it in his bag. And then Broderick panics, and he wants to get that shirt back because that's evidence. That's hard evidence because that shirt not only has Plunkett's blood, also has Broderick's name embroidered. Broderick's name embroidered on it. So that's hard evidence. Anyone gets the shirt, is done. He's the murderer. So Broderick didn't know Asin was going to take that shirt. So now that's Asin's possession. So Broderick shows up at that moment. He was hiding. And then he shows up and immediately and approaching to Asin, offering him money to buy that shirt. And Asin knows everything. Asin knows exactly what he's doing. So Asin offers him a very high price, $500 for that shirt. So $500 in 1850s is almost like $2,000 nowadays. So, and then in Broderick, he has no solution. So he pays him. So he pays him for the shirt. And as he was and Broderick wants Asin wrap the shirt, the bloody shirt, as a proper, merchandise. It has to be packaged. And as Asin was packaging the bloody shirt, Asin was so smart. He swaps it. He swaps the bloody shirt with another, other shirt, and packs it. And then Broderick gets the shirt. Thinking that was the shirt, and immediately he throws the shirt into the ocean. He thought he destroyed the evidence. And so that was that. And now, at the court, at the very moment, Asin brings out the real bloody shirt that he's been keeping in his bag. He's been keeping in his bag. And then he takes out the shirt. And then the court was like, and then Broderick was like, look, that's the shirt. It has York's name on it. And the court opens up the shirt. They were like, oh my God, it says Broderick. And it has blood on it. And then, stuff falling off. And then there's a pistol falling off that shirt. And then they were like, oh my God, so fucking, that's it. That's hard evidence. Like, oh my God. So Broderick, you were the murderer. So they're deciding. So they hangs Broderick, and in that moment, as they were trying to hang Broderick, the real Tempest shows up. No, the real Plunkett shows up because Asin hides him. He comes back, and Asin hides him in the house, recovering. So there was one slight moment in that scene. It's saying Plunkett enters from the house, and Asin immediately tells him to go back to his room and sleep. And that was it. I got so confused. I was like, wait, Plunkett? So he didn't die? And it was just like that. It was like 2 seconds scene. And then that's it. It was gone. And we'll go back to the normal plot. So turns out Plunkett didn't die. He survived from the whole murder scene. And then in the end, he shows up. And everyone's like, oh. And then that was the ending. So that was the ending. And then everyone hurrays for Asin as the hero. So that's the whole plot. Oh my God. It takes me 12 minutes to just summarize the story. Imagine how much time I have to spend on reading that play. But it's good.